Hello everyone again. This is Dr. Vaughn, and I'm going to continue on with this problem from the Chapter 15 assignment. You can see since the last video that I actually just did the check my work and showed you that those values that I filled in the first part of this video were actually all correct. The next one that we're going to do is this significance value for f, and then we're going to go down and look at this intercept x1, x2, and do the t-stats and the p-values. And then I'll save this r square standard error, most of this up here for perhaps a third video. We can do the observations right off the bat. All right, so what I'm first going to do is show you this significance f value. And again, what I did is go back to one of these, and this is that Springhouse's data set before. And I was able to replicate what they had in their ANOVA table, calculating it by hand. So let me show you how I did that. So I'm going to use an f distribution right tail with the f value that we've already calculated, and then with the degrees of freedom that's over here. And that's going to give me the significance f, which is the p-value for the, the significance of that f statistic. All right, so that worked over here. I got that 0.0004, etc. And so now we're going to do this with our data set. Now, I don't have an Excel sheet for our data set, so I'm just going to type in here the numbers instead of doing cell references for them. Right, so our f value is 52.305. So I'm going to go fdist.r2, and instead of a cell reference, I'm going to type in that 52.305. The numerator degrees of freedom is from the regression, and that was 2. And then the degrees of freedom for the denominator was 7. That's from the residual. So instead of G17, I'm going to type the number 7. And that gives me my f statistic of 0.5 zeros and then 6178. So back over into our sheet, I think I'm not really sure if it tells me, okay, round the test statistic to 2 and all other values to 4 decimal places. So this is 5 zeros and then the number, I'm going to move this decimal place 5 places to the left, so it's 4 zeros and then the number 6. So it's going to be 0.0001 when you round it. Now let's just go ahead and check that one. All right, and you can see that I got that one right. Next, we're going to go down here. Now, the coefficient divided by the standard error, this is actually in your book. So, one of the things that you can do is pop open the hint, and it just really opens up your textbook. And if you go into that textbook link and scroll down a little bit, it tells you what to do here. Okay, so I'll go forward a couple more. It says that the t-value is the, coefficient divided by the standard error. Okay, the t is the coefficient divided by the standard error. So on each one of these right here, I'm going to take negative 1.4053 and divide by 0.4848. 1.4053 divided by 0.4848. And that gives me a negative 2.8987. Same thing here. I'm going to take 0.023467 divided by 0.0086666. Get 2.7079. And finally, I'll take 0.00486 and divide by 0.001077. You get 4.5125. Now, for each one of these, you can compute this. You can translate this into a p-value by using the t.inv, because we're doing t-test, a t-statistic, and I can use the t.inv to figure out the p-value in each one of these cases, just like I did up here. So instead of the f.dist, I'm going to do t.dist. I need the equal sign. And I'm going to use the 2.dist.2t. And then I'm going to type in the t value. Let's start with the first one, negative 2.8987. And the degrees of freedom here is I think, hold on, I'm going to pause for just a minute. Okay, pause over. So anyway, the degrees of freedom you're going to use for the intercept, you're going to use the degrees of freedom from the residual. So that's 7. And then, and so you can see that first of all, I checked those t-stat values that I had entered. And I also then did this 2 times because I'm computing the area to the left of this negative t value and then doubling it to get the same area on the other side. And that's that p-value. All right, so you're going to do something similar for these down here. You're going to take these t-values. Since they're positive, you can either do the t.dist.rt, the right tail area that's above this positive t-value, and then double it to get the one that's on the other side. Or you might be able to use that t.dist.2t if you can, figure out how to use that to get the p-values. And then, you'll have to figure out the degrees of freedom here. Each one of these is one of those 2 regression variables. So I think you're only going to use 1 degree of freedom here, but, try it out and see how you do. And if not, then you'll have to make an adjustment to that. The last thing that I want to do in this particular video is talk about the observations. And if you look back at some of these other samples again, like this spring houses, you can see that the total degrees of freedom was 25, and we had 26 observations. Let's look at the auto resale. The total degrees of freedom was 32, and we had 33 observations. So the easy one to fill out here is the number of observations is just the degrees of freedom plus 1. So the last thing I can fill out on this video is, since we have 9 degrees of freedom, I can put the number 10 here. And again, I'll check the work, and you can see that, again, that's correct. All right, so we have, 4 more parts up here to get through. You have the knowledge to do these pieces over here, and then once all of this is filled out, you should be able to answer the questions down at the bottom. It's just about, interpreting basically the information that's in this table. I may have time to do one more video that walks you through these things over here. If it gets too late and you're trying to get this homework done, I would suggest that you just kind of do what I did, and that is flip through the book when it says, how do I figure out the t-stat for this table? And it told me, take the coefficient and divide by the standard error. Look for similar formulas about the r squared and the multiple r and the adjusted r and the standard error. And I think that you will be able to find those. And I think that the formulas that you're looking for up here are going to involve these other numbers, in particular the sum of squares that you have in the ANOVA table. So that's why I saved this for last, is because I think I needed the rest of these numbers in order to figure out these numbers up here. All right, I'm going to end this video now and get it up so that hopefully you can use it in time to work on your homework.